Hey there, I have a friend, and the friend wants some new house numbers on their house. And they got these type of house numbers. And the way these work, these are floating house numbers. So there's a little spacer. If you stick it through a hole, we'll have your house numbers floating in thin air. And I thought that these nice dark numbers would look good on some kind of brushed steel or maybe a brushed aluminum background. And so I dug in my bins, and this is actually the base from a mannequin stand. So if you can imagine, it was the counterweight. It's heavy, it'd be pretty tricky to cut. So it looks cool and all, it would probably look great, but I don't feel like cutting. Now this is a genuine Whitman trowel. It's actually what the terrazzo floor guys use. Imagine 4 of these on the ends of a spinning kind of lawnmower contraption, and this smooths down the floors when they're terrazzoing or cementing. But you know what? Turns out that they're about the right size. So what I intend to do is take one of these, drill some holes in it, and then I've got a good base. And in fact, that little line of dots, if anything, adds to the whole design. And then look in another bin that I have, and I've got all sorts of these aluminum ends, and they look good for steampunky kind of things. So maybe if I stick them on the end somehow, we might just have a kind of cool house sign. So right now, what I got on the go is my drill press, and we're punching some holes in, and we'll see where we get to with this. Okay, not too bad a start. I actually got all of the holes in the right place. Okay, in order to fit these aluminum pieces on the ends, I think what I'm going to have to do is cut a slot to kind of pop that on the end. And gosh, I wish I had a mill and could just mill those out, but I don't. So I think if I had an old blade for a table saw, you can cut aluminum on table saws. It's a little tricky. So I think what I'm going to do though, in this case, is use my drill press and go old school. Okay, good news is aluminum is pretty easy to drill. So that went fairly quickly. Now I'll have to use some other tool, grinder, Dremel, haven't figured that out yet, to clear that track out. Will advise. Well, I decided to take a walk on the wild side with an angle grinder. Is it perfect? Nope, but not bad. I'll probably take a file and just clean off that last rough edge, but now I've got a groove. Do this one more time, and then make some nice wood strips for the bottom and top. And I think we got a frame. Okay, we got our 2 end bits of aluminum grooved, and where it's a bit kludgy is going to be hidden anyway. So I think now we're getting a little closer to what things will look like. We need to put in some maple down here, and up here I actually have an old, turns out it's a butcher's block that came out of one of our houses way back when, and it was covered in paint. It was in a workshop. So I'm just ripping some maple pieces for the sign. So one done, I'll rip another one and then we'll sand them down. So now I'm doing a bit of belt sanding here to get the shape to match up to the profile of my aluminum strips. Dusty stuff. Okay, so our maple pieces are cut and they're screwed in and just shaping these edges to match the aluminum. Hey there, making some good headway on my house numbers. Neat thing about these aluminum billets is they take a sanding quite nicely and you get this brushed aluminum finish, which I guess that's why it's called brushed aluminum, is they take wire brushes to give it this finish, but it's easy working. And then the other thing about these billets that I had, they must have been for some kind of setup, something to sit in this groove, but for my purposes they don't really lend much in that position. So I had some little strips of teak and I thought this kind of stuff, thin gauge, it'll stain up nice. So what I'm doing is just creating these little inserts to slide right in there and then sanding them flush with the profile of this aluminum billet. And yeah, once it's all finished, it should look nice. That we've now got some nice teak inlays on both sides. And then what I've decided to do, iterative process here, I'm also going to encase the end bits, the end caps. So what we'll end up with is basically a nice covered edge and like a sandwich. So we'll have a piece of teak on right and left. So there you go. And I'm not getting sponsored, but I gotta tell you, this stuff is amazing. It's crazy glue, but if you spray one surface with the activator and then the other surface, you slop this stuff on and it turns into instant plastic. 3 seconds. Okay, so here's the end with a couple of strips of teak just roughed in there. You can see that I glued it in, trimmed as much as I can, but now I'm down to the belt sander. And the nice thing, the belt sander finishes it nice and flat. You'd think it was one piece of wood. And it's nice and tight up. So I checked in the cupboard and what I had was amaretto stain. So makes that teak come up quite nice. Well, here's our house numbers. Plaque complete. And this side isn't much to look at, but it shows you it is indeed the trowel. So we have upcycled from a cement trowel to some beautiful house numbers. Now the way I put the numbers in, sealed them, is another wonderful adhesive. This one is Glues It Marine and RV glue, waterproof and glorious stuff. And then the way I'm going to attach this sign is use these little swing tabs to hold on to, it's actually a fence. These will go on one side of the fence and it will just lock in place. Okay, and here we have the pretty much finished product. There's the teak ends, and we've got top and bottom, which are maple. And a bit on teak on the end. And that's a throw together from some odds and sods from my workshop. Okay, here's the final placement. We're going to put it in that corner.